Today, I just wanted to um, give some perspectives on the Ukraine war, which is going on. So, the Ukraine crisis is nothing new. It has been going on for at least 2 to 3 decades. So, there has always been internal division in Ukraine between people who support Russia and the Western sympathizers. So it's a old crisis. Now it is being pumped up because of the resources and the dollar dying, the United States dollar dying. And the resource in question here is mainly the natural gas energy going into Europe from Russia. So far, US had a massive hold on Ukraine, uh, and the Russia's natural gas pipeline have been going through the Ukraine till now. But then Russia has set up a Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and it has been completed in 2021. And this has enabled the direct transfer of the gas into Europe from Russia. Okay, so especially to Germany and Austria. So Germany takes about 55% of its energy from the natural gas coming from Russia. Okay, so if this Nord Stream 2 pipeline kicks in, it removes Ukraine and the puppet government, which is there in Ukraine, entirely from the energy equation going into Europe. So by creating this Ukraine war, the approval of Nord Stream 2 has been put on hold by Germany and Austria. So this seems to be a major reason for picking up this Ukraine crisis and picking it into a so-called war right now. So this is the pipelines which are going from Russia to Germany, right? You can see that Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 are going through the Baltic Sea directly into Germany. And the oil lines which are going through Belarus and Ukraine are again go through multiple lands before it reaches the major consumption place, which is Germany and Austria. So with this Nord Stream 2, it will by Russia will bypass all the conflicting interests in Ukraine and other places and directly reach Germany. So this seems to be the major reason. Okay, so so what happens if a real war breaks between United States and Russia? Both countries have their allies. Okay, so it is a division of almost all the major powers in the world today. So who is going to win the war if there is a war that comes, right? It will be those who hold most of the natural resources and most important manufactured resources in the world. If you look at it, the petroleum, the steel, natural gas, copper, aluminum, fertilizers, ammonia, rare earth metals, and semiconductors. So these seem to be the major drivers for civilization in today's world. So there may be many more, but I have picked these because these seem to top the list of materials and goods and services that are absolutely essential for a civilization to survive in this world today. So if you look at petroleum, the top 5 oil-producing countries are United States, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Canada, and Iraq. Okay, so except United States, which is this blue here, this is number one right now, but probably it won't be able to sustain that for long because the Biden government has not approved the major pipelines for shale oil and gas. So, and Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq, they seem to be forming coalition against United States. So very soon their combined negotiating power, as far as petroleum is concerned, may exceed the United States supply. Okay, so so far United States has been dominating the world with its petrodollar. The main reason for the rise and domination of United States dollar was due to the petrodollar after the last uh, agreement, Bretton Woods agreement. Now this is no longer the case. So petroleum is no longer a card United States can play. And if you look at the steel production, again you have China, India, Japan, and Russia again coming in at the fifth place, United States at the fourth place. Okay, and China and India together, they absolutely dominate the world stage for steel production. Again, United States will be left dependent on the above three as far as the steel is concerned. So they are not dominating in it anymore. And if you look at the similarly, if you look at the natural gas, right now United States is sitting at number one, which is pretty good, shale oil production, right? But the very second place is in Russia, and third is Iran, China, and Qatar. So all of these rest of the gang is on one side, and United States does not have a very strong ally after its first position. So again, the opposite side, if they decide, United States will be taken down as far as natural gas production and supply is concerned. So fertilizers are absolutely essential for food production now because the organic cultivation systems are all gone. Now the food production entirely depends on ammonia and fertilizer production. If you look at who is producing the maximum amount of fertilizers in today's world, it's again Canada, followed closely by Russia, Belarus, and China, Germany, Israel, and Chile. And US is really nowhere in the picture, basically. So it's at really small numbers. So if these countries get together and stop the supply of fertilizers to the non-friendly countries, then US will be set back by a very long time as far as its food security is concerned. It can no longer really sustain its food production. And anyway, US government has been paying its own citizens to not do agriculture for so-called climate change reasons, which is essentially the United States is already on a self-destruction path as far as food security is concerned. And similarly, if you look at the copper production in the world, Chile absolutely takes the first position by a long margin. From the next one, Peru, Congo, China, and followed by United States, and so on and so forth. But even though Chile and Peru are in number one positions, if you really look at who is actually in control, it is China again. Okay, because China has been buying up a lot of copper resources, both mines as well as ports that are there in Chile. China has become number one import partner for Chile for everything, basically, and especially for copper. Okay, so even if you look at Peru, Peru and China trade ties strengthened despite political crisis. China is there in almost every country in Africa, South America, and especially Australia. And they seem to be dominating all the natural resource producing countries. Okay, so by 2010, trade with China has more than doubled for Peru. So as far as copper is concerned, uh, China is actually in number one position when you consider the domination and the trade partnerships it is having with Chile and Peru. And even Congo, which is there in the third or fourth place, again, China is dominating with its mining deals. And this is number one major investor in the country of Congo. Okay, if you look at the ammonia production again, which is absolutely essential for food production, you have China, Russia, and third is United States, followed by India, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia. And among the top five, United States is again alone, and rest of the countries are all bunching together right now. So if there is a war, then with the United States on one side and rest of the countries on the other side, there is no way United States can handle that situation. And the rare earth metals is again another important resource, even though it is not in volume as far as the main things like steel and petroleum are concerned. But without rare earth metals, you cannot produce a lot of electronics. Okay, so if you look at it, China, Vietnam, Brazil, and Russia, India, they dominate absolute domination of most of the rare earth metals in the world. So again, United States is not really anywhere in the picture. And coming to integrated circuits and semiconductors, again, China is dominating. Okay, so followed by South Korea and Singapore. And the United States entirely depends on these other countries for its electronics services, goods and services. So in electronics, the hard disk drive market and production is a very key uh, item for any civilized world today. And if you look at who is supplying the maximum amount of hard disk drives, it is again China, Thailand, and Philippines. They're all on one side. And the United States is entirely dependent on these countries for its supply. So, if there is a war that breaks out between the United States, their allies, and Russia and their allies, it will be a very unequal war, as dictated by the resources. So, because the United States and their allies are dependent on the other side for a whole lot of things, and in case of a war breakout, it is not possible to maintain the status quo itself, let alone win anything. You can't win anything at all. But then, if you look at how many people in the United States are supporting a war, it is over 45%. And clearly, this is not driven by any intelligence or factual analysis of where the United States stands. Because these people are completely hypnotized by the media saying, oh, we are the superpower. Okay, that is not the case. In fact, the unmaking of United States is already on its way. So entering a war will be like starting a self-destructive sequence for the United States and their allies. Anyway, even if they don't enter a war, the most of the world and world countries are de-dollarizing already. They are moving away from dollars, and they are beginning to trade among themselves with their own currencies and gold and bartering systems. So the decline and fall of the great empire has already begun, and it is well on its way. It looks to me that United States initiating the Ukraine war seems to be a what do you say, the last gasp or desperate attempt to try and establish its dominant position in the world. I don't think it is going to hold water anymore. So, what do we do in this current situation? Well, shift out of United States and their ally European countries and move on. And you should safeguard your savings and other assets in non-dollar assets. Okay, so that is it for now. Have a good day.